welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters here in Season X, aka Season 10. As we are here with Kalaris. Oh, you weren't a part of that in Shenzhen, weren't you? You missed it.
Yeah, I guess so.
We officially branded Season 10 as Season X.
Ah, okay. That there's Exhibit, right? That's that guy.
Well, you know, just kind of like, you know,
the
Roman numerals being an X for a 10.
I was trying to be gangster for Rotterdam, and then I get shut down. What? Oh.
It's because you don't have a tattoo
Exhibit
on your
is so
forearm.
not gangster anymore.
Is he not?
He's so 1999, James.
Oh, okay, sorry.
He's like, I still listen to, who do you, oh. I was gonna think of some kind of old R&B artist or something, but
Like Jay-Z, no, Ja Rule.
Jarud.
Who's that?
You still listen to Jarud,
I
don't
don't
you?
know who he is.
Exactly.
he dances around with a lot of gold chains, the usual.
Okay.
But you know, they're not as cool as we are casting StarCraft. Let's just cut to the chase there. We're here for the last game in Group A, and it's going to be Happy versus MMA, a rematch from earlier on. So. Happy, I don't know if you heard the interview. Happy talked a little bit about his games earlier on, and he said that the games he lost just weren't close at all. He lost to like some kind of tank Viking push, and the game that he won, MMA just made mistakes. So, is there anything to read from that coming into this one?
I think absolutely. I think in general, when you're a mech player like Happy, it often comes down to either you lose extremely one-sided, or most of the time you'll win. There isn't really a whole lot in between. Like, it's very unlikely for a mech player to get up to 4 bases and then suddenly get outplayed, because then you have to ask yourself, why am I playing mech? Like, if I reach to this phase in the game and I'm losing, then probably I shouldn't be playing this. So it's often that first push that can just hit you a little too hard, that makes it too hard for you to eventually get that production going that you're looking for as a mech player.
Yeah.
And I think you can take a lot from surprising timing in a game 1 of a previous best of 3. Like, I think you can learn a lot from that.
I hope so, because he's going to need to learn a lot from it, Happy, if he's going to want to turn this around. But, you know, thinking about MMA for a second here, if MMA loses this match, I'm going to play that type of card, you know, the hashtag storyline card. If he loses this match, is he kissing goodbye to BlizzCon at the end of the year? Because he then would have to do the inevitable, per se.
Yeah, it's always hard to make a bold statement like that, because we would look so incredibly stupid if he ends up winning Kaspa Cup or GSL or something. It's like, Apollo and Rotterdam don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But it sounds a little dramatic, but I do think you're onto something. He needs these points very badly. He's been a regular at BlizzCon. It's not just last year runner-up. No, the year before he was there, the year before that he was there. Like, pretty much, you know, MMA is always there. He's supposed to make it to BlizzCon.
Yeah.
And of course, this year we knew it was going to be a lot harder because he moves back to Korea. But then he had an amazing run in Season 1 where he just proves all the doubters wrong immediately.
Yeah.
Or did he? Because now suddenly he's in the middle of the pack and he needs these points. He needs to at least have a top 4 finish. I would even say top 2 finish.
And
here.
an interesting little point here is that MMA didn't qualify to get in this tournament. He didn't play in the open bracket. He was gifted an invitation through WCS Wildcard, and he snapped cold. He instantly said, I got to go, yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, that comes back to every single year when we've spoken to MMA. I think you've highlighted it perfectly in the past couple of years. That's all he actually cares about, BlizzCon. He always is only ever talking about BlizzCon. He wants to be there. He wants to hear the crowd again. He wants to be on that grand stage because, let's face it, last year was a fantastic stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's nowhere near there right now as he goes up against Happy, who, you know, I feel silently confident coming into this. He knows that MMA's not playing very well right now. He said it in the interview that he feels he's weak, and Happy just came off a 2-0, and if he can drag MMA down to play the same game that Happy wants to play, you know, play that long, drawn-out, slugfest type of game, that's why he feels most confident, Roddy.
I totally agree with you, and I think losing against Sue doesn't necessarily have to hurt your confidence because it's Sue, but the way that MMA lost, there were a lot of unforced errors in those games. Like, it doesn't matter how great of a Zerg Sue is, you know, just supply depots not being raised, Hellions being morphed at the wrong time, you know, just Reapers getting trapped early on, losing a Reaper against a Queen. Those are unforced errors, because that's not up to Sue. That's just MMA making mistakes, and that doesn't feel nice. No matter, even if you lose against one of the absolute best players in the world, if you just feel like, well, it went wrong there and there, then it's okay. But those were just a lot of very unnecessary mistakes, and I don't really think it does a whole lot of good for his confidence going into this series against Happy.
Well, MMA's got a lot of experience. He's been in these kind of sticky situations before, and he's going to have to show us once again. But, you know, going over to Happy, I feel it a little bit weird personally when you look at Happy's games recently, you look at his results, and then you say, okay, you can't qualify for Premier League anymore because you keep on losing in Challenger, yet you're about to potentially be in the round of 8 of an Intel Extreme Masters. Like, when I look at it that way, it just doesn't compute very well. What would you say that's towards? Is it just a bit of a luck, a good game, a good day, or is there actually still something there with Happy?
I mean, WCS is extremely legit, and it's one of the most fierce competitions out there when it comes to the foreign scene. But at the end of the day, Challenger is one best of 5 against one specific opponent, and there is such a thing as getting unlucky in 2 best of 5s in a row. It's unlikely. You got to contribute it to yourself a little bit. But who did he lose to again this season? I know we casted it, but
Put me on the spot now. Can't quite remember.
who did Happy lose to in this season?
I'm not sure, Roddy.
Was it a TVT?
I think regardless of who it was, though, is that the format of Challenger at the moment gives the opponent, regardless of who it is, a great opportunity to prepare for someone, right? They've got weeks, well, potentially weeks of preparation to actually go up against someone. And Happy probably thrives more in a situation where he's just like, okay, here's my opponent today. All right, I'm just going to play on like this, compared to my opponent has had a good chunk of time here to really study me and hone down on my preferences. And he certainly has his preferences.
I'm trying to think. I know it's...
Yeah, I'm really bothered by it too now, because we were just talking about it earlier today and now I can't remember, so that's extremely silly. But
let's take one different angle again here then. What do you think about Happy's interview? And I know he's got his headset on now.
I loved it.
But what do you think about what he was saying about how he thinks he's the best micromanager in the world?
I loved it. Those are not fighting words we hear coming out of his mouth very often. In the past, he's been in his interview and his answers been very generic. He's been like, yeah, I'll do my best. Yeah, I think I'm good. But never a statement like, I'm one of the best micro players in the world. And I don't think anyone can deny that. Like, I wouldn't really argue with it either, because he was one of the first people ever. I know the Muslim likes to refer to this video. Do you remember in like 2010, 2011 when he was splitting his Marines on Tal'Darim Ultra, I believe it was? It's like, oh my God. And I mean, I've known Happy since the Warcraft 3 days. Some people may not know this, but Happy played the weakest race in Warcraft 3. Well, actually, my race was the weakest, because, you know, that's what everyone says. Nah, he played Undead, and it was very hard to be a successful player with Undead. But his micro was so out of this world, and of course, Warcraft 3 micro and StarCraft 2, it's different. StarCraft 2 is a lot faster paced, but his micro was so out of this world that he was able to win. He was able to become a European champion against legends like Todd, like Grubby. Yeah. He was able to win with a race that was considered inferior compared to the others. So he's always been a top player when it comes to the micro department, and I think he has the right to make a claim like that, but I love hearing it.
All right, well, the players are almost ready. We'll be jumping into that in a very quick second here. Another quick thing from that winner's interview too is he mentioned that the way that he was talking about how he's thinking about quitting perhaps, and if he doesn't find something special in his life to continue playing. But a win like this now against MMA is that kind of spark that a player sometimes just needs, especially after taking a lot of losses recently. Imagine if he beats MMA now and he's like, I just got top 8 in the Touchstream Masters and potentially a step ahead from that. That's something which he should be grasping for right now.
Yeah, I think that would be a real good kick in momentum back for Happy. After the last 2 seasons of Challenger, after being put in that position, it's really got to hurt a little bit. Definitely hurt a little bit. But, you know, the lineup here for an Intel Extreme Masters is nothing to sniff at all. Quite far from it. It's quite prestigious now. It gets really, really hard. So for him to take, even to the map before off MMA, for me was a fantastic result. And then if you can take this whole series, which we do see a lot of the times, once you lose that first one, you come back and you're actually able to perform very well and valiantly in the second.
All right, well, we are going to go to the commentary team in a quick second. Final thing then. Predictions. Where do you think this one's going?
I'm actually leaning towards Happy, 2-1.
Yeah, okay.
I'll still go the opposite direction and say MMA, and 2-1.
All right, well, 2 players fighting for 2 very different things now. One player fighting for BlizzCon hopes, the other fighting for that kind of spark to kind of reignite his passion and kind of get back going on the hype train, which he's definitely had in the past. But it's now time to go to the commentary team for this one. Let's see who goes through to the playoffs, and sadly, which player will be eliminated.
Hey guys, welcome back to the casting desk. Thank you, Sean, James, and Roddy for that analysis. We've got a big TVT match coming our way. How are you going, Todd?
I'm doing good. I like how KLIs and Apollo got their name called out, and Roddy's just Roddy.
Oh, he's Roddy. No one thinks of Kevin, you know.
Yeah.
He's Roddy. He's a kind of creature within the scene. Yeah, he's a symbol.
A creature. Wow. Okay.
A creature, like he's beyond human, you know, in a good way.
I guess.
All right, that got weird. Anyway, we are going to be hopping into game here. The first map is going to be on Coda. It is going to be an awesome TVT. How are you feeling about this one, Todd? Who do you think's favored here?
I think MMA, definitely. They have a little bit of history together, and MMA has a winning record, but Happy did win the last one, so maybe not quite as one-sided as some people think.
Definitely going to be a close match, of course. Spawning up here in the left-hand side, it is MMA. looking very focused. Wants to take another win against this guy down here in the bottom right. It is Happy. Fighting for Russia here. Fighting to get some revenge for that first series of the day.
Already one Zerg through here to the round of 8, and now we're gonna have a turn before Protoss finally comes into play here in the next group with Lilbo.
It's actually a really balanced racial lineup, I think. It's got a couple of Protosses in the next few groups, so...
In a lot of tournaments, it actually is. In like the final 8, it's always like 3-3-2, I think, most of the time.
Yeah,
But then usually like whoever wins, I guess, gets whined the most about for a week.
Yeah, exactly. You know, everyone likes to please lose in the semifinals, favorite player of my race, so we can get a bit of a buff down the track. Interestingly enough, both players mirroring each other so far. No crazy gas first, both just barracks gas openings. Interesting to note on Coda, I mean, there's a few interesting features on the map. It's great for mech and so on, but something I like to always think about is just how close the main bases are. If you don't have to go kind of the land path, a Banshee can get over there really quickly, so that's a very common option. However, what we've seen from Happy so far today, it's been very defensively oriented in the early game.
Yeah, because he likes to play mech, I guess it makes sense for him to play like that, unless you wanted to go for big pushes, but all of the time that would be called basically all-inning, so instead of doing that, he's basically, I guess, just gonna sit back, you know, wait for somebody to make a mistake, and they're finally attacking to him, in which case he finally counters attack. If that doesn't happen, he's really happy to go up to 5 bases, make a lot of orbitals, do any kind of transition he feels is justified, you know, Ravens, even battle cruisers at times, and do really well with them. You know, Bunny even tweeted that Happy doesn't really lose this kind of game, so if he was to reach the very, very late game here against MMA, that'd be definitely interesting.
I'd love to see it, actually.
Yeah.
Do you like just to see MMA, how he would approach that situation if it gets to that point, how he'd try to dissect that.
I heard a few people saying that they thought it was going to be mech against mech, but personally, to me, like MMA is such like, he represents bio. Like if there is one Terran in particular that is bio for me, even though I know he's on the few occasions he's playing mech, that is MMA. So I think that MMA, fully knowing that Happy is likely to go for mech, if he goes for bio himself and he has a few, you know, drops, timings, you know, big attacks planned from multiple locations, I think he might be able to do really well.
I think that could be a really good option here. I was actually very surprised today myself, seeing MMA practicing in the warm-up room. He was playing against Innovation. He went 1-1. They were both mech versus mech games. And from what Happy said, in the previous set, they did play mech games there as well. So MMA might just feel this is the best way to play StarCraft 2 right now, and especially on a map like Coda, I can't fault him for that.
Maybe he's just not confident in bio versus mech, which can be the case. But right now, his Reaper's going to get chased, finally get away.
Wants to get the scout off. Does get in here to see what's going on for MMA, which is really good. Happy built those 2 Reapers, so he really did want to be able to deny that scouting, but it looks like he isn't going to get a lot done. So investing that extra 50 gas, it slows down your tech, slows down your transition a little bit, and it hasn't really paid off just yet.
Yeah, we see Starport here actually going down for MMA a little bit earlier. He's in a good position there with the Marines to receive any of those Reapers were they to try and go up there.
Oh, interestingly enough, an armory is already being dropped for Happy.
Whoa!
That's really, really fast, and I think he actually just cancelled that because he saw the Reaper coming in, and he's cancelled that armory, changed his mind. MMA's scouting here is so good, and look at this, he's even going to deny the Starport. Oh, meanwhile, on the other side, though, Happy is getting a little bit of work done with his Reapers, and these Hellions will come out and shut down this Reaper.
Wasn't that a mistake, though?
What do you mean?
Happy here, like whatever building he was going for, you said it was an armory? Why would you get an armory there?
It made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, he was supposed to go for a Starport. I think he realized that he was getting an armory and he just cancelled it and went for the Starport elsewhere. So he lost a lot of time here with this.
Maybe just a big misclick there. That could be a little bit of nerves showing.
Who clicks to make buildings?
Well, I mean, a missed button, a missed hotkey.
Yeah.
Armory and Starport are both right next to each other on the default hotkey setup. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And I think Happy does use those default hotkeys. He's been playing RTS games for a long time before you could customize those. He's coming in now, looks for some damage. Gonna catch these Marines out front, gonna kill them very quickly. One Hellion does go down, but everything else is still up. Oh, very good depot raise. And it looks like MMA is gonna hang on, but he's losing SCV, he's taking damage here. And
he's gonna bridge through that wall here in a second. There's only 4 Marines behind this here for MMA. Happy looking to try and do some damage, but he loses a lot of units here, targeting the buildings instead of those units for a second.
Oh, clutch. clutch SCV, hops onto that bunker when it's on a fraction of health, and just managed to heal that up to stop those Reapers and Hellions breaking in there. Really, really nice move from MMA, showing the strength of his micro here.
Yeah, and behind this, we're going to have an MMA there on 30 SCVs against 28, who starts the third command center, whereas Happy, I guess maybe he feels a little bit threatened. He starts a second factory there. One thing that I've picked up on Happy's TVT is that he loves massing a huge amount of Hellions early on in those games. And kind of like, 4GG-esque style of TVT, where you get so many of them, and you have not only, a good capability to defend well, but also to, at times, be offensive and, I guess, destroy a little bit the economy of your opponent if you can.
It seems like a very nice way to balance out, of course, that tendency with mech to tilt towards the gas mining. Not only does it give that mobility, but we've seen in his mid-game engagements, dropping Hellbat seems to be an absolutely crucial part of how he wants to engage every single time with this army. Meanwhile, we do see that Banshee from MMA working its way down along the southern side of the map, and we do see extra barracks going down, as Funker pointed out. So it looks like MMA will be going for that bio transition.
Which I'm pretty happy about. I feel like it's such an interesting matchup. As much as mech versus mech is okay, bio versus mech, I think it's really, really cool and challenging. Oh my god, these Marines are lined up a little bit too much there. They're gonna take a lot of damage, but kill a bunch of those Hellions with 2 of them here going down.
Hellions doing a surprising amount of damage there. Meanwhile, Happy was very well prepared for this Banshee, has deflected it with a minimum of kills there. Happy adding on more and more Hellions, going into Viking production as well to shoo away these Banshees. And we do see tank production starting to kick in for Happy, but no real thoughts of a third base for him just yet. Looks like he just wants to get units up, get an army up to be safe. Meanwhile, MMA powering up that stim pack. He's getting up his 4th and 5th barracks. Still no third command center for him either. Looks like his plan is very... Oh, there we go. Third command center there in the natural. Looks like his plan is very much to try and get over on the map off this big economy, and he's going to try and slow down Happy's third base as much as possible, really delay that out, and then start to pick him apart with drops.
Yeah, I think Happy maybe was a little bit paranoid here. They might get attacked. He wanted to get a lot of units. Or does he actually want to commit here to a huge timing with having air control? This is such a Happy style of play, by the way. Like making this many Vikings, he almost always does that, so they make sure he has air control. Actually going to be chasing that Banshee here a little bit, but if he goes forward here with tanks and Hellions and just kind of keeps leapfrogging forward with the tanks that he's going to have, even if MMA, is in defense with some of his own tanks, not having air control is going to make it so difficult for him to properly fight against these Vikings and these tanks.
We do see the third command center going down only now for Happy, and the 4th gas as well in the natural, so I think you're right. He wants to do something with these Hellions. He's stayed on that mineral economy for a long time. He's got Vikings up, he's adding medevacs, and with 3 medevacs and this big bunch of Hellions, there may be a strong window to hit a timing here. If he can drop on top of this army, this can be very, very powerful, just because the bio units don't have their upgrades just yet. But we can see in that top production tab, they're getting closer and closer to being finished. And once there's stim and combat shields, as well as a good number of bio, this is going to become much harder for Happy.
Yeah, and MMA is kind of setting up to try and defend a little bit everywhere. He's got units in his third base, some in the natural and some in the main. So as much as against small drops, he's going to be okay. If he gets sieged or attacked in one single place, it's going to be a lot harder for him to actually, I guess, properly defend. And look at this, Happy. He's actually going to get right in there with a drop, with the medivac and some Hellbats in them. Goes right through this army here of MMA, who's got some units in his main. He needs to send that over to the third base there.
Oh, a couple of tanks going down, but there's just so much bio left in the back. The reinforcements from the main are filtering down. MMA just has so many more units than Happy here, and he crushes that attack, taking a 50 supply lead.
Yeah, MMA making this look easy of a hold there. 127 supply to 74. Happy just got absolutely demolished here with this push. I expected him to go slowly and use the air control that he had, but I'm not sure why. He decided to just kind of YOLO it up and go for a huge attack, which completely failed here in this game.
He was so outnumbered in that tank count, so even with the air advantage, felt like he wanted to get something done straight away, but now the situation is dire for Happy. He's got the air control, but what else does he have? Not a lot, only now adding on his 4th and 5th factory. He doesn't have any third base down. He's got an orbital, but there's no way he can secure that. He just needs to try to hang on here desperately, but this is so scary.
He's got air control, like you said. That's the only thing he's got. He's gonna down the ground. That's what's likely to happen there. He just can't fight, I think, on the ground unless MMA really does a bad attack, but I don't even think that's possible here with the amount of units that he has. So MMA is actually going for a lockdown there, fully knowing that he's on 3 base against 2 there right now.
Happy needs to have the strongest, most careful defense here. He needs to be so efficient, so calm with this. It is going to be so difficult. In the top right-hand side of the map, we actually just saw a landed barracks from Happy deny the attempted command center from MMA. MMA says, nah, I don't care. Let's charge up this ramp. And there's just so much bio pushing in here.
He's got way too much. GG will be called an MMA. Takes map #1. Easy peasy there.
Pretty straightforward win, wasn't he? Just had so much more stuff. It seemed, just like he just was stronger there. I like to see this sort of recollection of MMA. He looks a little bit more confident now. At the start of the day, he did look a little bit shaky, but I can see a little bit more strength in his play, a little bit more focus.
Yeah, that was really good here out of MMA. In control of the game the whole time, and it takes an easy first map.
Let's see if he can take that through for the win. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after a very quick 2-minute break. Welcome back to IEM Season 10 here at Gamescom. We just saw MMA take a decisive Game 1 against Happy here. This is the deciding match in Group A of the group stage. Of course, the winner of this match will go through to the top 8 playoffs. How do you think Happy's feeling after that game, Todd? What's he got to do to recollect himself?
Probably
here?
pretty bad. It didn't go well at all. You know, he tried to mass salience and go for an attack with some tanks as well, drop some of these Hellbats at the front. He probably thought that MMA was going to have a lot less than he actually had. And he just felt, I don't know, like he had no chance the whole time. So he's going to have to stay calm, collected here, and try something a little bit better for sure, or a lot better actually.
If anyone can come back with just strong, solid play, it would definitely be that guy. Of course, first of all, he's going to have to go through his opponent, the Korean powerhouse, the GSL champion. This is MMA. Champion of many events, a long-time hero in the StarCraft 2 scene. He's going to have to take down a Russian player down here in the bottom right-hand side of Iron Fortress. This is Happy.
Happy, I really wonder what he was picturing here in that first map. Like if he ends up winning the whole series, I guess maybe Apollo can ask him, but it never looked like this strong attack, like this fast attack, rush the way he did it, was ever going to do much to MMA. So I think, I don't know, he just misread the situation, you know? I probably thought there was going to be a lot less.
Felt a little bit late, and it was kind of interesting because Happy talked a lot about air control and not having it being the real reasons why he lost the previous games against MMA. And going into that series, we saw 6 Vikings out at like about 12 minutes when he hit that attack.
Yeah.
And you're investing into 6 Vikings, that could be multiple siege tanks. On the other hand, MMA didn't care at all about the air. He had like a medevac or 2, I believe, but he mostly just had Marine, Marauder, siege tank, and a really sick economy. So
I could even have pulled the CVs, like, you know, I guess against that many Hellbats is hard, but like a little bit later into the fight.
No third command center in sight. I think that would be a legitimate pull. I mean, obviously they'd be soaking up siege tank shots, but it's just one of those situations where sometimes you go into a match, maybe you feel like your opponent's a little bit favored against you, or you feel like you know what they're going to do, and you kind of take a bit of a risk to deal with it. And I think maybe that Happy thought, oh, if MMA plays the exact same way he did before, this is going to work. And obviously it didn't pan out.
Yeah, MMA though, on this map, he went for a gas first. Happy not here, standard repo opener. He's going to be scouting with an SCV. It's funny actually to see, Happy always scouting with an SCV, just like he does on the ladder, just to make sure he doesn't get like hit by some hard cheese. Kind of wants to know exactly what he's up against. Whereas MMA is more like, well, you know what? I'm just going to gas first, keep that one extra SCV here on those minerals back at home instead of, losing a little bit of minerals just to know where you're at.
And really, he'll probably only be scouting with, say, a first Hellion that pops out, runs around the map to check where he's going to hit with his first bit of aggression. Now, gas first, you've got to hit with some sort of aggression off this build. The 2 most common options, of course, are that Marine, Hellion, Medevac sort of elevator attack, and the other one is just a very fast cloaked Banshee. Now, both of those attacks, I think, will be kind of a bit more advantaged being in this horizontal spawn, because the main of Happy is wide open and very direct path from MMA's base there. So I think he's going to be very happy with that. And we do see it is going to be the Banshee option.
Actually, that Reaper is going to see everything.
Oh!
If he goes into the main, whoa, he's not.
There's actually no fighting units out for MMA right now. If that Reaper went in, it could have slowed down that starport, which would have been massive.
Not spotting this is actually a big deal here. That's Banshee is going to be so fast. That was a tech lab made here on the barracks. And then as soon as the factory finished, he started the starport here next to that tech lab. And already being on 2 gas so early, There's going to be... Oh, he's going to see it, though,
The
eventually.
Reaper will still get in. He's going to at least get that idea in time. He will be able to do something like drop an engineering bay and prepare for that. We do actually see a starport going down for Happy as well. He's still just doing that one-base tech sort of option. He will be able to get a very fast Viking out, which will help hedge away this Banshee very easily.
I wonder, like, if Happy drastically changes his build here to try and, you know, properly defend against this, or he might just go for the offensive. Look at this. Marines, aliens moving across the map. I think he fully knows that MMA is not going to have that much, but there's a Widow Mine in the ramp. And in defense,
huge splash damage against those small light units.
And no matter what, Happy is going to have to work on getting something here for the defense. And I think with the eBay he's got on the way and now getting a medivac, he's probably going to do an elevator to try and kill a lot in MMA's base, and at the same time back at home probably get a Viking and start getting some turrets, but not before getting a second command center.
You know what they say, the best defense is a good offense, and looks like Happy's going to be following that motto with this Marine Hellion medevac pressure that he will be pushing across the map with. MMA, interestingly, going into a Raven behind his first Banshee, and is this Banshee going to spot this? If it sees these Marines and Hellions, sees them just as they're moving out across the map and spots the medevac. This is really good for MMA. He realizes he needs to pull that Banshee home, or he could take crippling damage.
Yeah, he's got the Widow Mine there, which actually makes me a little bit worried there for Happy if he was to try and run in there with the Hellions. But with the medivac, I'm pretty sure he wants to go for some kind of elevator no matter what. I like the choice of MMA of pulling back with the Banshee. I do think he's going to need that in defense. I'm not sure about the Hellion though. The Hellion's getting caught on the map right now. And he's going to get fried. He should have just sent that in middle line of Happy because there was nothing back at home to defend against it.
I actually really like the way Happy's playing this so far. He's not rushing in just yet. I think he should just apply passive pressure here. Don't actually YOLO in here. Don't go crazy. Because if he rushes in here, MMA has all the tools to shut this down. But if Happy just keeps him at home, then this could be really nice. As it is, we see Happy just activating that Widow Mine, does pull back. I think Happy's got the faster expansion. He's got tanks building at home, more Marines. There's no real reason to him to force the issue.
He's actually saving some scans there in case that Banshee was to fly on top of his army. But back at home, MMA's got a Raven. He's going to start tank production there himself. And with a much later command center there, yeah, like you said, this is, I think, pretty good for Happy. But double additional barracks start now, so this time around it's going to be Bio once again from MMA. Whoa, Viking. Steps out of position there for 1 second.
Gets a little bit overeager. This is the moment where MMA's multitasking can begin to shine. His Banshee sitting in Happy's mineral line, taking out a lot of SCVs. Meanwhile, Happy's only killing a depot in return.
Oh, the turret's on the nut.
Ooh, the Banshee does end up getting deflected. Only 4 SCV kills for MMA, so not game-ending by any means. But Happy really needs to get dropping these mules. He's saving up just so much energy here, and we can see his supply is starting to drop behind. He's actually 8 workers behind MMA right now, even though he's had the faster command center.
He's not using mules. Happy's on 142 energy here on his main command center.
Oh, this is a really big macro error. This is something Happy can't afford right now.
Oh, the medivac though on the map of Happy is getting caught by the Viking there of MMA. Nicely done. Was on patrol there, waiting for this the whole time to finally happen.
MMA just looks like a little bit like the more solid player here. He's up 10 supply, despite nothing really going super his way so far. He's just looking very powerful, adding on more Marines, tanks, adding a couple of Vikings here, and just pushing Happy's pressure away from him.
Yeah, MMA just, I guess, gonna transfer on some SCVs on the natural there. Maybe starts working towards the third base there in a second, but he's only now getting the add-ons for his barracks in the main and getting the first eBay of the game here for him as well.
Interestingly, it looks like a bit of action going in on the map there. And we see Happy's very well prepared with that Viking count once again. It looks like MMA was looking for the option to do that Marine Viking tank push where he could edge in with the air superiority. But Happy was well prepared for it at home. And, ooh, interesting. Happy going for that economic route once again. Third command center has been dropped. And, interestingly enough, barracks going down for Happy. Looks like he wants to go toe-to-toe with Bio.
I don't think he had enough minerals, though, to really go for that, because in SCVs, he's only on 32 against 40 right now. And that natural, he had so little SCVs there. So I guess he's missed macro there for some time.
Yeah, pretty big supply block. This is something I actually noticed when I was studying a few of Happy's recent VODs. Some uncharacteristic gaps in his SCV production lately. And that's something which is just slowing him down. And we're seeing MMA kind of get ahead with these invisible macro mechanics, kind of just being so good on top of all of his subtle macro, being on top of his depots, not getting supply blocked at all until I say that, and he's at 94 out of 94.
Well, he's ahead at least. 14 more supply there as Happy moves out on the map. He's got a bunch of Vikings here for the air control once again.
Oh, landed Vikings. MMA picks up his Marines. They actually need to be down there fighting right now. That allows Happy to get a really good position with his tanks. 3 tanks still alive for Happy. Oh, he's not focusing down the last tank of MMA, but these Vikings on the ground actually adding a lot. The auto turret's coming in. MMA needs to break these tanks right now. If any of these tanks survive, this is so bad for MMA, but he does clean it up.
Yeah, and comes out quite a bit ahead here in terms of army and pretty much everything. He's got 10 more workers. 48 SCVs to 37 there right now. Army supplies 32 to 21. MMA just doing fantastic with yet another clutch hold. I'm really surprised that Happy just ran in there. He had quite a few tanks. He had Vikings against no Vikings. He could have just sieged slowly or even done a lockdown, but it seems like he just wants to get in there and try and get a fight.
It's one of those moments where as a pro gamer, you always want to be decisive. You want to be making split-second decisions, but sometimes your instincts, they're just a little bit off, and it looks like it's one of those days for Happy. Going in for that fight ended up to be a very bad mistake. He's now down 30 supply, and MMA is looking to put on the counter-aggression. But Happy, recognizing the danger of this exposed main base, he's already got missile turrets down here.
Yeah, that's Happy for you. Happy and Goody always have those turrets ready, and I think MMA is quickly going to realize that he's not welcome there and cannot go for the drop just yet. He's going to have to wait it out a little bit longer. Starts another command center on location.
That map control advantage going to MMA there, going to allow him to just get that over there much quicker. From MMA, this position, it's really his game to lose. I think from here he wants to choke out the bases, and if we think about Iron Fortress as a map, it's very hard to secure that third base. I think if MMA can just slowly strangle out Happy, opportunity is going to open in this big, wide open area out front Happy's natural, where when Happy pushes out to take a third, MMA will find the surface area to come in with a big flanking engage. I think that's his game plan right now.
Yeah, MMA, I think he doesn't have to do anything extraordinary at this point with how far ahead he is. He just needs to make sure he doesn't throw away too many units, not killing anything. And he can kind of just wait for Happy to finally take a third base, because it's kind of, you know, in Terran versus Protoss, you also have that situation where like Protoss is on 2 bases and you really want to drop, but you shouldn't because he's obviously waiting in one of his 2 bases and it's going to be so much easier for him to defend. But right now, MMA is just going to go for a single Medivac drop in the natural. With that sensor tower in the main of Happy, even though he's playing bio here in this game, he's gonna want to take it slow, you know? He's gonna want to build a very, very big army and kind of test MM's patience. We talked a little bit before about this. Even with bio, Happy can be really dangerous in the late game.
And he can, of course, use that defender's advantage here. He'll be able to adjust his defense a lot more flexibly using this these bio units that are very mobile. Oh, really cute Marine drop out of MMA. Doesn't quite manage to pick off that tank of Happy. Looks like he wants to come in on this angle. Oh, sieging some tanks, just taking it slow for the moment. MMA doesn't want to rush in a clump into this huge spread of Happy, or things could go awry very quickly.
It's funny actually to see MMA with the air controller with just 2 Vikings, not even full on hit points there. Goes a little bit too far forward there. There was a scan by Happy right on time.
Oh, and that tank's still in range. Oh, Happy didn't focus fire though, so the last tank going down on that Marine. Oh, the Raven coming a little bit far forward. These Marines from Happy sniping that down. Very well played.
That was close.
The upgrade's looking quite close. MMA a little bit ahead in that armor upgrade, but Happy is starting to catch up on it. His +2 attack, the most important one, is very close, but MMA looks like he's had enough. He sees weakness. He's coming in here with a huge spread, focusing this down. Happy's in position to defend, but he just doesn't have the numbers.
Yeah, there's just too much. MMA is just gonna crush through this army there. GG. And MMA here is our second player to move on to the round of fates quarterfinals, along with Sue.
Moving along just behind Sue. MMA looked a little bit shakier at the start of the day. Did drop a map in the first series against Happy. He then did go down to Sue, but now regaining some of that confidence, showing some really on-form play.
That looked easy. You know, it's kind of like what Euthermal said, where you play against Korean Terrans in TVT and they make you look like a gold, even though Happy is a pretty strong name in the European scene in TVT or not.
It's just so hard sometimes to get the practice in that matchup with the limited player pool, and guys like MMA are just on another level. They're so good at all these moves, and they've got that patience, that calm, and that confidence that just comes from years and years of playing StarCraft 2 at that level.
Yeah, and that really showed there. And I guess Happy maybe a little bit overeager. I have to say these attacks I really don't understand. Just like went right in there. You say like you need to be decisive in this kind of series, but with the right decision, though.
Exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, you don't want to like get too nervous, but then you go in and you're like, whoa, that was the bad move, you know. Sometimes I feel like that's where there's this instinctive strength, right? Like, you know, when you're really on point, when you feel really strong and you're doing things, you're barely even thinking about them and everything just kind of clicks together. I don't think today was one of those days.
I know about that because it almost never happens to me. So the few times that it did, I kind of discovered.
I can feel that. Like, you know, at any point, I think for a lot of pro gamers, they feel it in their strongest matchup, and then, you know, they go to a tournament and they play like the race they're bad against, and everything falls apart. But of course, MMA not one of those players today. So let's go and hear some words from him about his victory.
Thank you very much, Pig, and Todd. Congratulations to MMA, who advances through to playoff stage. Oh, we're not friends anymore. Hey, got you too.
This is just too much to handle.
I mean, me and MMA, we go back a long way, I suppose. Congratulations. How were you feeling going up against Happy? Were you a little bit nervous?
Were you feeling
confident? Were you feeling happy?
Come on, man.
Well, what was it? We watched the games before. The Happy's last games, we were sitting in there watching together. What did you think?
이번에 좀 태태전이 좀 제가 많이 준비가 안 돼 있는 상태여서 걱정을 많이 했는데 그래도 좀 생각보단 잘 풀린 것 같아서 다행이에요.
He's trying to give me a job here, Sean. Please.
Yeah, please, James, go ahead, translate.
Yeah, so I didn't really prep TVT all that much coming into this IEM 10 Gamescom, so I was a little bit worried. And I faced him in the first set too, or you know, the very first game of the day. So I wasn't too sure, but things worked out really well, and yeah, that's why I'm here.
All right, MMA. Are you capable of winning this tournament? Where do you feel personally? Can you beat Innovation? Can you go up against Sue again? Where do you feel personally your shape and your form is right now?
요즘 좀 게임을 열심히 그래도 하려고 하는데 생각보다 이렇게 폼이 쉽게 올라오지 않더라고요. 그래서 이게 노력은 그만큼 하는데 좀 안 돼가 좀 많이 속상한 건 있는데.
클래스는 영원한데?
아니요, 그건 아니고 좀 제가 그래도 좀 안 돼서 그냥 속상해요 많이. 그래서 저도 좀 어린 선수들처럼 수나 신영이처럼 좀 잘하고 싶네요 지금.
So I have been trying hard to really immerse myself into practice and just do well and excel in all the chances that I get. And some, by the odd reason, it doesn't seem like my form's just coming up in these days. So I just quoted him saying that because he said that once, form is temporary in classes, whatever. He's like, things come with aging. And unfortunately, I can't. It's really difficult to compete players like with Sue, Innovation, younger players with much better forms these days.
So every year since I've known MMA, it's always the same thing. Usually, I talk to him like we are right now, and usually the one word that always comes out MMA's mouth, he probably already knows it, is BlizzCon. So let's talk a little bit about this now. Is this something which you are working towards to get there again? Because right now it's not the best position in rank. Do you want to go to BlizzCon this year? Can you do it?
당연히 블리즈컨 너무너무 가고 싶고 제가 블리즈컨을 이번 WCS 출범하면서 거의 안 빼먹고 간 선수 중에 제가 유일한 걸로 알고 있는데 이번에도 좀 꼭 가고 싶고요. 그리고 포인트 좀 많이 부족한데 GSL 우승하고 그리고 여기서 포인트 좀 획득하면은 좀 가능성이 있더라고요. 그래서 좀 욕심 좀 부리고 싶네요. 그리고 제가 또 뭐 8, 9월, 10월에 항상 잘했거든요. 그래서 이번에도 기대하셔도 좋을 것 같습니다.
I think to my knowledge, I think I'm one of the very few, if not the only player that's always been to BlizzCon ever since the WCS started. So of course, I mean, who wouldn't want to be at BlizzCon? So I want to, but the road is steep. I mean, maybe I need to win GSL Championship once, another Tier 2 tournament or something. So we could start out with this one, for sure. And also, I've always done well in August, September, October, last stint, so.
Yeah, I remember last year was a very similar situation when you traveled to all the DreamHacks. It was like, MMA needs to win this, MMA needs to do this, and he was able to do it. So
Instead, he won DramHack 2014.
Yeah, DramHack.
It wasn't a DreamHack, DramHack.
All right, so final questions then. Moving forward to bracket stage, Sue, you're not going to meet him until the finals again because he played in your group. So is Innovation kind of the only player to be scared of, or is Fantasy a bit of a problem? If Lilbo escapes, is he a problem? How do you look at the rest of the players?
그 윤수 말고도 신영이, 뭐 지현이, 릴보, 명훈이 다 잘하는 선수고, 또 제가 지금 뭐 이렇게 완전 100% 자신 있는 상태다 그러면은 뭐 누구도 무섭지 않겠지만 지금 좀 실력에 자신이 없는 상태라서 다 무섭네요. 네.
I mean, IEM, obviously being IEM, there are a lot of good players in this one too. You know, you got Innovation, Sue, Lil Bo. You also got Patience, Fantasy. I mean, if I was confident as I normally am, I'd probably say, sure, you know, I'm not really worried about going farther in this tournament. But in this one, unfortunately, I can't say that at the very moment. We're going to have to see how it pans out. I'm a little bit scared, but, you know, we'll see.
Do you believe, James?
Do I believe? I believe.
Do you believe?
I believe. I mean,
I believe. Do you believe?
well,
You should
let's
believe.
think about
Do you
it,
believe?
because it's not only about the confidence. It's more about desperation. To be frank and very honest, it's got Army to serve. You know, after this year, it's really this BlizzCon is his last chance.
Is this your last year in StarCraft 2?
Unless he somehow, you know, marries a woman with citizenship and gets a green card, perhaps not.
Yeah, you
but
think
you
so?
know, you never know. The options are available.
내년까지는 하고 싶어요. 저 공허유산 이제 곧 출범하는 걸로 알고 있는데 그거 나오면은 좀 공허유산도 좀 해보고 싶고. 좀 이렇게 빨고. 네. 네? 아니요. 그런 말은 좀 그냥 공허유산도 해보고 싶어요.
I want to try being the StarCraft 2 pro player as long as I can. Maybe there's a chance I could play a little bit into the next year. I know the Legacy of the Void starting soon, so we'll see how it goes. And
All right, thank you very much, MMA. Fighting in the quarterfinals. We'll see you on Saturday. Best of luck. Thank you for the interview. Now it's time to go towards the next group. And this is going to be an interesting group as Fantasy, Innovation, Lilbo and Rhett go head-to-head to find out if they can join the top two from Group A in the quarterfinals. Make sure to check out plays.tv for all the action that you've missed so far. We'll be right back with Lilbo going up against Fantasy.